Okay, so I got all my servos and everything. I got my gyro all hooked up to the receiver. So this servo, this is my aileron servo. The one in the back here, this is the elevator servo. And the one on the other side here, this is the pitch servo. And this plugs into the auxiliary channel on the receiver. And the auxiliary channel being the one here on the very end. It says aux1. That's where the pitch servo is going to plug in. So, anyway, got all this stuff plugged in. Now, I am going to be taking all this stuff off soon, so that's why, while I've got all the wires run and zip tied in place, one of the things that I've been doing lately to all my helicopters is putting this braided servo line on. And what this does, this covers up the servo wires so that way where they run through, parts of your metal frame or carbon fiber frame, with this on there, it's going to protect the wires from getting worn through. Just to give you a little idea what it looks like here. Got a servo, and I've got the wire kind of looped up around itself up in here to shorten it. But you put this little protecting cover on it, heat shrink the ends of it with this heat shrinking, and there you go. It's pretty cool. Bends any direction you need, but it just protects your wires. And makes it look a little neater. So I would be installing that, but like I said, I'm going to be taking this all back apart, and when I build it up as the Apache, then I will be going through installing this stuff. You can get it in all different colors. I've got gray, blue and black, green. So, but like I said, I'm going to be installing that here a little bit later. But to start off here, I'm going to go ahead and get my servo horns installed, and then keep going through with the setup. Okay, one little quick thing I did in my transmitter before I actually plugged the helicopter in. Because I have the gyro plugged in now, I wanted to make sure that when I plug the helicopter in that it actually goes into head holding mode. So I did was I go into my transmitter here to the gyro, go to this, and I put the value at 70%, and then I put this bottom value at 30%. What this is the gain. Anytime you go over 50% gain, it's going to put the gyro in head holding mode. And you go below 50%, it's going to put it in rate mode. So what it is when I want this switch up, I want it to be in head holding mode. And that's what I've set it. So that was just something real quick I did in my transmitter. Now onto the servo arms here. You can see here, I've got two servo arms. This is for my aileron and pitch servos. I got it so the little ball links point in. And then for my elevator servo, I've got it so it points out. And these little ball links all come in a little package together there, so you get these all installed. But I just wanted to get these assembled first, and then because it's going to make it easier for me to, when I'm setting up the servo direction. Okay, so the transmitter's on. It's going to plug the helicopter in, and you should be able to see the motor's still unplugged. Alright, so now the helicopter's on. First thing I need to do is switch up here. Get this here. You want to pull it towards you, and then put your throttle stick in the middle. Right. Now, you can go ahead and position your servo horns on your servos, and try to get them as close to 90 degrees as you can. Sometimes they'll be a little bit off, but try to get it as close as you can, and sometimes they'll be dead on. But go ahead and install them for all three servos. Okay, so I've got my servo arms installed. And I've actually connected the links to the swash plate. This just makes it easier to tell what servo needs to be reversed. So first off, you need to make sure all three servos are doing the same thing. Now it doesn't matter if all three of them are backwards. You just need to make sure all three of them are doing the same thing. So, same thing as in working together properly. So what we're going to start off with is forward and backwards. So when I go forward, I need the swash plate to tilt forwards. So when I do that, you can see here, this is pushing it up, this is pulling it down. So both of these are backwards, but the other side is correct. The other side is trying to pull it down. That would be the pitch servo. So then when I check left and right, this one's going the proper direction, but my other one, my pitch servo, is backwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with, I know these two are backwards, and that this one is, not the same as these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one backwards. So I'm going to go into the reversing menu on my transmitter. I don't know if you can really see that. setup list, and I'm going to go in, whoops, reverse my pitch servo. Alright, now that's reversed. So now, what happens is, now when I go forward and backwards, all three of them are backwards. So, now to change that, you just go back to the main menu here. I don't know if I can get this so you can see it here. Go to your main menu, go to Swash Mix, and I'm going to change the elevator from positive 60 to negative 60. And this is going to change the operation of all three servos at once. So now, when I go forward stick, all three servos are moving in the proper direction. See how that works? Now when I go left and right, my left and right, those are moving in the proper direction. And now just to make sure they're all moving in the right direction when I go for pitch, when I go up, they all go up. When I go down, they all go down. Now, if I went up and this moved down, you'd go into your same Swash Mix menu and change pitch from positive 60 to negative 60. And the same thing for your ailer, left and right. If both servos are backwards, if you go left and the swash plate tilts to the right, well, then you just go into aileron and switch that from positive 60 to negative 60. So anytime you got one servo backwards, you reverse the servo. When you got two or three servos backwards, you use the Swash Mix. So that's how that works. So now I know all my servos are moving in the right direction. Now what I'm going to do is adjust sub trims. Okay, now sub trims are really easy. When you position your servo arm on your servo, and you get as close to 90 degrees to the servo as possible, then what you do is you go into the transmitter, into the sub trim menu, and this is where you can do the fine tuning to get this perfectly, level 90 degrees there. So you do is you go into your sub trim menu, and this is my pitch servo, so I'm going to go down to the pitch servo. Alright, select that, and now when I move this up or down, it's going to move the servo arm up or down. See it going down, see it going back up. And what you do is you just go up or down, you just adjust it till you get your servo arm perfectly level 90 degrees there to your servo. And once you're confident or you feel good about that, then you can go through and do that for the other two, and that way you can get all three servo arms perfectly 90 level degrees. So we can go ahead and make sure the swash plate's level. Okay, so the next thing is adjusting these links, the three links here from your servos to your swash plate to make sure that you get your swash plate level. Now, one of the easiest ways to doing this is to get a swash plate leveling tool. This is for my 600, so this doesn't actually fit on this one. I gotta get another one. But all you do is you take off the bolt for the rotor head here, disconnect the four links to the swash plate, and you take this whole top portion right off. Then what you can do is you slide this piece down the main shaft, and you can see here it's got these three little feet. Well, these 3 feet sit on the 3 spots where the servo links connect to the swash plate. So then what happens is this is going to be perfectly level because it's fit onto the main shaft. So then if the swash plate is even the slightest bit out of level, that section's not going to touch this foot. So you can go ahead and adjust either the link, or you can actually even use the sub trim to make sure that the swash plate is perfectly level so that all 3 spots connect to the 3 feet. So that's a really cool little tool. So like I said, I gotta get another one. But after you do that, you make sure your swash plate's level. Now I use the lengths outlined in the T-Rex 500 manual. I'll put a link to that on my website. So that makes setting it up a lot easier. So after you go through and you set all your links, resize them if you have to, adjust the lengths, get them all set up, then you can go through and adjust your pitch, check for 0 degrees pitch and pitch range.